Hello everyone, welcome back. We are in the last step for developing our managed application. We will discuss the save option in this video. Till now, we have used the managed save options. Whenever we are doing the clicking on the create button, delete button or update button, then what it is happening, it is saving the data in the database and it is handled by the database. But sometime what we want to do, we want to save the data. Apart from whatever we are saving the data, I want to save some additional data as well in the database. In that case, we will use the additional save. Managed save done by the managed BO framework. In additional save, we have to do some additional save apart from the managed save. And sometimes the requirement is like that I have available the legacy code which is handling my saving part. I want to save using my existing function modules or BAPIs are available. For using that, I want to do my save instead of doing the save using the managed save. Then we will use unmanaged save. In that time, the save we have to write entire code for saving our all the entities data in the database. That is called the unmanaged save. And in unmanaged scenario, obviously we have to do everything our own only. So no need to, nothing will be done by the framework. If you see this particular slide from my older video, we have discussed till now how to create the data model for business object, define all the behavior, most of the things we discussed apart from drafts, and this is the runtime implementation. Runtime implementation have two parts, interaction phase and the save sequence. We will be more focused on this video save sequence. During the save, what all are the things are happening, that also we will see apart from this particular additional save and unmanaged save. In the managed save, as I told you, it is the default options. Default option means if you don't define anything in the managed scenario, this will be handled by the BO framework. Whenever you do the modified operation, it will be automatically saved in the database. Whatever the table you have defined in the persistent table, that in those tables the data will be saved automatically in the managed scenario. But in managed with additional save, sometime, as I told you, the requirement like that we have to save apart from the managed save data, we want to save some additional data. Then we have to define this additional save option in our behavior definition characteristic. We have to write we want to use the additional save. Either if you want to use for particular entity, then just above for that entity you have to define the additional save, or you want to do that additional save for all the entities, then you can define that thing in your where you are defining managed or unmanaged. You can write managed with additional save, there also you can write. And when we required actually this with additional save, most of the general scenarios, you can use your custom scenarios also, but most of the general things, whenever we are saving the data in the database table using the managed save, I want to track back those changes. That will be helpful in future for auditing purpose or for analysis purpose. So for example, particular field got changed, I want to save that, who changed that field, what time it got changed and what was the value. So that thing I want to save in that particular database table, that I can do apart from managed save. I want to add that particular save option, that table save option, then in the additional save I can write that particular code to do the additional save. Not only this is the example, you can do whatever you want in the additional save. If you want to save, if you want to call some function module, if you want to call for the update function module, those also you can call in unmanaged save. In managed save with additional save. So there are, apart from this particular additional save, we have two more options. One is the full data, second is the cleanup. So as I told you, the managed save we have to implement in some method that is called the save modified method, where we will be writing the code which we want to do additional save apart from the save whatever done by the managed save. If we define in this particular, if we have defined in our syntax of behavior definition with additional save, if we have defined the full data, by default, if you don't define full data, the particular save modified method have only those fields which got changed apart from the key field. key field will be available, and what all are the field got changed, those field will be available. But if you define with full data, in that case the entire data will be available, and you can do the additional save based on the entire data as well. One more thing, the control structure of the data, percentage data will be available in the percentage data, but control structure will be available only for the changed field. The control structure will be updated only for the changed field. What all are the field got changed, those will be flagged. So we can say in that way, even entire data is available, we will get to know these are the field got changed. This is the use of the full data. Apart from that, we have cleanup as well. So after the save is done, I want to perform some cleanup activities that I can do in this cleanup method. So as soon as you will define this cleanup with additional save, you have to implement one additional method called cleanup, which will be called after this save happen. Now we will talk about the unmanaged save. As I told you, you want like that your data should not be saved using the persistent table. I don't want to define any persistent table to save the data in my database, but I want to save my own way the data in the database using my function module. Some of the function modules and BAPIs are already available in the legacy. I want to reutilize them instead of writing this persistent table and making this thing, making this table and saving in those tables. So you can use those classical function modules, or means utilize the function module which is already available. For in our scenario, for example, we have travel booking and booking supplement already created, but I have already those function module to create, update and delete. Function module is already available, which is saving in the which will be saving first in the, which we can call in the update task, and we can use those function module instead of using this particular entire function instead of using directly saving the data in the table. So for that purpose, if those function modules are available, then you can use this particular unmanaged save. So this unmanaged save will be called during the save sequence only, but how it will be called I will show you in the next slide. But it will be called, and instead of saving the data in those persistent table, it will be save the data using those function module. Whatever the code we have defined in those function module, we have to call those function module. We don't need to create new function module. That we have to make sure. Why to create new function module? If you have existing function module that you want to utilize, then you utilize here. Otherwise, directly use the persistent table. When you are using unmanaged save, you have to make sure that the persistent table is not available. You don't need to define the persistent. If you define, I think you will get error. You will get definitely error in unmanaged save. If you define the persistent table, what is the use of persistent table in unmanaged save? There is no use. So these are the things we have to make sure. Then function module should not have commit work. That is, those are the important things that we will discuss further when we have some criteria. What we can say, some of the implementation guide for RAP. So some of the things we have to make sure in the save sequence, we should not write commit work at all. Not only in the save sequence, in transactional buffer itself, we should not write the commit work. If you write commit work will trigger, and that will create the mess. So some function module and some code you are calling, that should not have commit work. That you have to make sure. And that is the reason we are calling function module in update task. So once the commit work happen by the framework, that time your data will be saved along with this data, and whatever even your entire data will be defined in the function module, those will be saved. After that, commit work will happen. So that you have to make sure. So I want to explain this particular the save sequence, how once you do the EML commit entity statement is execute, or you will invoke the save sequence during the OData call. Just click on create button and you want to invoke the save sequence. That time, what all are the methods is called. The first method will be called the finalize implementation, where you can write little bit code to finalize your implementation. And this finalize implementation, again in this picture, I just want to explain, this is for all managed scenario, this is for unmanaged scenario, and this middle part will be run for managed and unmanaged both, this middle part. And if you see the finalize implementation for unmanaged scenario, you have to implement it your own, but for the managed scenario, it's done by the framework. Whatever it is here, it's done by the framework. So we don't need to implement the finalize method. So we will discuss finalize method more when we discuss unmanaged BO. And once the finalize is over, then the determination which we have called on save, those determination will be called if the condition is triggered. Those determination will be called, and those determination we can define for managed and unmanaged both. Once the determination, all the determination is over, then next step is that once the all determination is over, if it is failed due to some error, then it will go for the rollback work. We will see what it is happening at end, we will see here, but it will go for the rollback work. And if it is successful, then next step is the check before save. This is the last, we can say, where we want to make sure that we can do some changes our own. After that, the validation also will trigger, but validation we can't do any changes. But in the check before save, this is the last step of the last method call where we can do some changes. After that, the one line will come, we will say that point of no return, where we can't go back to the transactional thing back. So after this point, so this is the last method. If you want to make your BO consistent, something wrong happened due to or something wrong happened, or we want to make sure our BO is consistent, that I want to make sure here, and then I have to go for further step. Check before save is of in managed scenario, it is handled by the managed BO. In unmanaged scenario, you have to write your own code if you want to do some if you want to modify that BO internally. Once this manage check before save is called, then the validation will be called. These validations, whatever the validation we have defined in our business definition, those will be called, and data will be validated, and everything is right. That validation will be managed and unmanaged, both scenario is available, so we can write in managed also and unmanaged also. Once the validation is over, we will come to the one point. From there you can't return, the data will be definitely saved in the database. So, and you will not go to the transactional thing back, you can't modify that particular BU at all. So here, then first method will be called as adjust number. If you define the late numbering in your behavior definition, then the adjust number you have to implement for managed and unmanaged, both the scenarios. You have to implement the adjust numbering if you have defined the late numbering. We didn't define the late numbering, we did the early numbering. And once that done, the save implementation method will be called. This is very important part from here. Due to this part I have explained above as well. During this save implementation, unmanaged BO, very simple, it will call save method and that's it. But managed BO, what will happen? First it will check you are doing your unmanaged save. In managed BO you are doing your unmanaged saved or not. If you are doing your unmanaged save, it will call that save modified method, and then it will proceed further. And if you have defined additional save in the managed BO, then what it will do? First it will call the normal managed save, that will be done by the framework. Whatever it is happening here, that will be done by the framework. Then it will call the additional save that we have to define in the method save modified. And once it is done, everything is okay, we will call the framework will call the commit work. So you can see this is the commit work will be called. In the commit work is executed if you define cleanup in your either in unmanaged scenario you have defined the cleanup, or in managed scenario if you have defined the cleanup or cleanup with additional save, those cleanup, all the cleanup will be called and the data will be saved successfully. But during the validation determination some error came, then what it will do? It will come directly to here. It will do the cleanup activity and it will give the control back to the user to modify those errors. That is happening. You can see this fail is happening only in the implementation of the determination or validation. You can say this is the valid during the determination got failed or validation it got failed. And after point of no return, there is no failed activity. It can't go to the transactional phase. Definitely either it will be saved or it will be saved. We have to make sure like that it should be saved the data in the database. There should not be inconsistencies. So that is the reason we have one method called check before save. That method that we have to make sure everything is okay if we are unmanaged scenario. In managed scenario it will be done by the framework. And once it is done, the save is failed, then same iteration go again and again. So this is how the save sequence works. In the same way, I will show you the create update and modify as create, update and delete as well, how the method sequence is called, that we will do in unmanaged scenario. In managed scenario I didn't cover that, I will show you in the unmanaged scenario. Mainly why I have covered, I want to show you how the method is called during the save sequence for the save implementation. This is the main important thing. When in unmanaged scenario, how method save is called, when method save modified is called. So two things are there. In the additional implementation, first the method save of the managed save will be called, and then the additional save modified is called. And unmanaged, directly this save modified will call, and that unmanaged in managed in unmanaged save, directly save modified it will called. In unmanaged, anyway, the modify save will be called. This is the modify save. This is modify save method, save underscore modified method. So this you have to make sure. So you can go through the picture. I try to explain my best. Now in our application also we have to do the additional save. So this is how we will do the practical. So what I want to do, whenever we are saving the data, I want to track the data, what field got changed, when it got changed, and who changed. So that is the reason we will create a log table with the change operation, change field name, and change value and change date. So using that log table, I can track back my all the record, who changed and what value got changed and when it got changed. So that we will try to implement. So without wasting the time, let's jump into the system. We will define this log table and we will do some code in the behavior definition. There is two way we can define here. So one is we can define here after just managed, or we can define for particular entity also. Both way I will show you. If you define along with the manage, then that particular additional save will be applicable for the all the entities which are available in this particular behavior definition, for travel as well, booking as well, and booking supplement as well. And if you want to define only for the travel or booking and supplement, so you have to define here characteristic level. So both way I will show you. You can see here we have to define like with the additional save, and then we have to define with additional save, then we are getting the error. So basically it is saying where you want to implement this additional save. So we have to write here implementation in class, and we have to define the class name ybp underscore save, and that should be unique. So like that we can define this particular additional save. As I told you, additional save, apart from the normal save in this particular persistent table, we can write our code. So in our case, we will define one log table, and these all are the field which I have shown you in slide. I will define those fields, and there in this particular class, that particular method, save method, which will be in the save sequence, that I will call, and I will insert the entries in that particular table. So this is the one way, but I don't want to do for the entire particular all three BO, or we can say all three business object entities. I want to do for the only for the travel entity. In that case, I just have to define at the entity level. Instead of defining here, I can define directly at entity level in the characteristic. For example, here with additional save, we can define with additional save, but still we have to define the class to save this data. So that we have to define at the header level. It is saying operation needs to be implemented for the behavior definition, which means implementation class to be specified. In this case, we have to implement the save modified methods. For that, we have to specify one class at the header level. Either we can specify in the same class I want to implement my save thing as well, or you can define the different class. So better I will create the different class only. If you are defining the same class, what will happen? It will add one saver. If you open this particular class here, we are getting error because we have two semicolon. If you define in the same class in the local types along with this particular behavior handler, we will be having the local class behavior saver itself. Along with this particular class, local class, it will be created one more local class just above it, and we will be having the save modified method. That you can try it out. Okay, let me try it out for you. Just you have to do the with additional save, and you have to do control 1. But in this case, I want to create the separate class, or I can do here as well. So you can see another local class got created for our save sequence. This is for the transactional phase and this is for the save sequence. In the save sequence you have the adjust method. As I have shown you in the flow, we can if we are doing the late numbering, we have to define the adjust number. If you have the save modified method, and in unmanaged scenario we have the save method as well. So those we have to do those method implementation we have to do here, whatever is available during the save sequence. Save before check, those all are the implementation done will be in this particular saver class. This is the one way you can create the separate class also at the header level. There you can define this particular save method. So let me define here itself. So let's see why to define separately. So it is saying that behavior of def cannot be redefined because we have to activate this first, control F3, and we have to activate this as well, control F3. Or you can do in the separate class also. There is no need to, you have to define one separate class, YBP save sequence or save method, something you can define, and the one that saver class will be declared in some that particular class. So that it's again how you are modularizing your code, it depends on you. In this video we have understood what is the additional save, or what is the if you want to define unmanaged save, and what is the difference between the managed save and unmanaged save and additional save. And we created our additional save and we defined the additional save in our behavior definitions. In my next video we will implement this additional save as well. We will create one custom table and we will try to implement this additional save. Apart from that, we will try to understand the unmanaged save also. So before going to that video, please like this video, share these videos with others as well. With that, thank you and happy learning.